So apparently my footage from the other day disappeared, and it's so hot outside. So hopefully it will probably fog up, but we're just gonna have to deal with it. So this right here is the immaculate green bean plants that I had. You can see some of the leaves are starting to die. We've had like this really dry patch, like no rain until like last night. So, but it's still growing, still doing well. Next we've got the baby Leeks, the baby French Leeks. I don't know how big they're supposed to get, so we're just kind of playing that by ear, but they seem to be doing pretty well though. And then here, are my store-bought Leeks that I had cut off and then put them in water to grow roots, and then I planted them. So I planted this one probably a week or 2-3 weeks before I planted this one. So overall, they're both doing well. Moving on, here is my lettuce. It wasn't growing in the other container, as you can tell from the previous videos. So it's actually growing here. I haven't cut any of these off because they're not quite big enough yet. But then if you move over here, so this is where the garlic was and the radishes were. I've already cut this off and had like 2 salads from it. But I like how you can cut it off and then it just keeps growing back. So with these in here, we could cut off this big leaf like this. But overall, the lettuce is doing pretty well. I had switched up a couple of things because there was a lot of things that weren't growing and they just weren't doing very well. So here's the calendula. It looks pretty sad every now and then it picks itself back up. So I'm still waiting for the flowers to come, which I'm pretty positive it's calendula. I know I've been pretty unsure this whole time, but yeah. Here is a cutting of lemon balm that I got from a friend's garden, and I propagated it and then planted it. So the other two didn't do very well, but this one's doing okay. It's grown very little bit, but it's still grown. Here's the carrots. Some of them are looking a little iffy, but they're actually gotten a lot bigger since last time. Here's my oregano, which stay tuned, probably later this week. There'll be, I'm gonna do a cutting of that and get a lot of that down. So I don't know if you remember my spearmint video, but this has gotten so tall. So I need to cut it down. So I think once it gets to this part, I don't think it's gonna grow. So I should have cut some of these down a little while ago. So I think I'm gonna come through today and cut that and get that taken care of. My thyme, on the other hand, is going crazy again. So I'm gonna have to go through and cut that back. Here's my peppermint. It's finally getting big enough so that way I think I'm gonna go in there either today or tomorrow. And also with the peppermint, I know a couple people who want some cuttings, and I'm going to start some little plants for winter time, so I'm going to start growing them inside. Moving on. Obviously the chives, I didn't really do too much with them, so they kind of just, I don't know what happened, but that's that. The cinnamon basil is coming in really nicely. This is definitely going to be moved inside. I haven't used it yet because I wanted it to just continue to grow. Here is more lemon balm, like the other. It's grown a little bit and there's some new growth. It's looking pretty sad right now, but I think it'll be okay. So, pretty sure the tomatoes are kind of like a wash. I just haven't had luck with tomatoes that I've planted last year or this year. So we'll see. The kohlrabi looks like something has eaten it. It was looking really well for the longest time, and then it just doesn't. So if you remember, I found these 2 little rosemary babies, and those are coming in nicely. And then, which is French rosemary, and then I actually got these cuttings from a neighbor, and so I had them in water for like a day or 2 so I could figure out what I wanted to do with them. And then yeah, you just take off the bottom parts of the rosemary, and then you can just go ahead and stick it in the ground, and it's supposed to take a few weeks for it to catch with the roots, but they seem to be doing okay and still alive. No real growth on them yet, but it's coming along nicely. So here's my wonderful basil plant that I didn't grow, but it has gotten a lot taller. I don't know if you remember, well, I did post a video of me propagating it, and we definitely I cut it off right here, and we've got the growths coming out either side, and it's definitely grown quite taller. So I'm definitely going to be cutting this down soon, and then going to, obviously, like I said, start my plants for the winter, and this will definitely be one of them. So my okra is getting really tall. I don't see a lot of growth on the okra, I think, until like August, so I think it's doing okay. Obviously everything did better when it was in the ground, but for in a pot, I think it's doing wonderfully. I don't know if you can see all this craziness. I'll show you that in just a second, but this is just one of the mini vines that have come down. So we're gonna tuck this around here. That way it kind of grows out. But this is my morning glory vine, I think. So I ended up pulling these. Sugar snap peas don't like hot weather, and it was definitely getting hot, but I got a few of them off of there. Not as many as last year, but that's okay. Okay, so my Echinacea was doing really well until about like a day or so. I don't know why it's all drying up, because I've been watering it, so I don't know what's going on. Having a crisis here. The chamomile didn't grow. We've got a couple little things in there. Maybe it's not a summer plant, because I think it's pretty fragile. The hibiscus, just like the other ones, was doing really well until like, I don't know, a couple days ago, same when these started to go, but it's been really, really hot lately and not very much rain, so I think that's why. The Thai basil is actually coming in. I thought that was gonna kind of crap out on me like the other ones, but it's actually coming through. It looks really well, really good. The sage, still taking its time, but it's still coming in really, really nicely. I don't believe I've lost any of them. They're just getting taller, and they still smell really good. Alright, so here's my first little garden box that I had, and pretty much, yes, I'm pretty sure everything has officially died in it. I understand the marigolds dying, because those were only around for so long, but my spinach was doing really well, then it just died. So I don't understand. The kale was doing really well, and then all of a sudden it just died. Same with the arugula. That I had to plant again, and it started coming back, but I don't know what happened. And then lupine, I think that started dying last video, and it's just done for. So I just went ahead and took all of them up. I guess we'll reevaluate for next year and see how much I actually want to grow, because everything was doing really well and then it just wasn't. But here's my cucumbers. It's getting quite a bit taller. I think the sun's helping, but I think it needs maybe more sun. I think it still gets quite a bit of sun, but we've got some flowers here. A new little growth. This is 2 plants. This one's got, yeah. So this one's gotten pretty tall. This one here. Overall, it's doing really well. Here's my not so small tomato plant that I'd gotten from my friend, and it's gotten quite a bit taller. So here is the lavender. Still growing in nicely. I don't know what to do with that. I was thinking of planting this outside, and that way it'll just come back every year. I'm guessing it does. And then here's the citronella. It was not doing so well, and then I had made it come back, and then now it's just not doing very well. So maybe I'm just not a citronella person, but I'll figure it out one day. So I had, trying to get myself out of here. So this, I believe, is milkweed. Then if you can see, a lot of my marigolds down there planted. I mean, not planted. They flowered. And then we've got all of these guys. And if you look all the way up here, so I'm not sure exactly what this is, but then this up here is another, what I believe to be a morning glory vine. So hopefully that will happen. But this is the milkweed, which is good for like butterflies. That's just why we planted it. And then here's all my marigolds. We've got a bunch of like little purple flowers and stuff down here. And then, well, this is a weed, so we're gonna pick that, 'cause yeah. So this is also in this little garden. We've got some Shasta daisies here. I had cut one off the other side. It was also pink for my sister's birthday back in, well, this past month, July 12th. And then here's the first one that started growing. It's gotten really big, actually. And then that was the newer one. We've got, I think, a couple other growths on here. Like here's one. And I think there's one in the back too. Oh, it looks like there's going to be a lot on there. There's marigolds. And then, like I said, this entire vine thing, I had a dream for it connecting to the porch, and that's exactly what it's done. It is a very big tangled mess here, but I'm really hoping that these are morning glories like I'm thinking they are, because I did plant them. I have said for the last couple of videos that I would actually step in there, but I'm just not going to, apparently. Here's a zucchini. It's gotten much bigger. We've got a bunch of flowers. No zucchinis yet, but I'm hoping that will happen soon. It's just been very hot here, and we haven't had rain, like, at all. And I mean, obviously I water my plants, but the rainwater just helps it so much. So I think this plant I might be watering too much, so I didn't water that this morning. But this one's doing pretty well, and then that one right there behind there, that one's doing really well also. So when we scooch over, look at my pumpkins. These are my side pumpkins, the ones that I first planted. This front one looks like it's getting watered too much. You can't really tell on camera, but it's almost like a light, very pale green when it wasn't before. And so this one right here is a pie pumpkin, and so is that one. And these two, I don't know what happened there, but that one right there is a Cinderella. So is this one. So hopefully that stays alive. But This I'm very excited about. So honestly, if that's the only one grows, that I'm okay with that, but it would be awesome if both of those stayed together. So we're just seeing what we can do this year. But this one's getting a little crazy, trying to come out of the fence, and it's just growing wild.